Despite effectively revamping my office at the start of this year, I have already decided it doesn't quite work. For one, it is pretty much constantly messy because I just don't put things away, because not everything has a dedicated space. For instance, pretty much everything over here is because I don't actually have enough space in the drawers to store all of the stuff. Is it because I have too much stuff? Maybe, but there are some other issues as well. While my new filming setup is much better than my old one was, I've got my camera permanently here, it points down onto the desktop so I can film things from my computer. I don't actually have a good face forward location, so I can either do face forward from here, I either have the curtain open and then get blinded by the sun, or I close the curtain and then the background's just kind of boring. Or I have to set up my filming tripod here and film into this corner where the journal rainbow used to be. Don't worry, the journals aren't gone, I've just moved them. Also, one of the main reasons that I had this 2-desk setup is so that when I had people over who maybe wanted to do journaling with me, there was a space for them to work and a space for me to work. But my journaling buddy's having a kid, and they're probably gonna want to bring their kid to journaling time, maybe, and I don't really want their kid in my office. No offense to them or their kid, I just don't want a small child in here. So I'm effectively thinking that this space needs a bit of a shake-up. Ideally, I want to have this project done before the end of the year, so let's get started. The first thing I'm actually going to do is tidy up my office, which, when you see our next step, might feel a little bit counterintuitive, but I just want everything off the desks so I have space to work. These items aren't necessarily going in their forever locations. In fact, pretty much none of them are going in their forever homes, because all of this is going to get moved around. Having the office start in a tidy way though really helps when you start moving some of the bigger pieces around. It's a little bit hard to move a desk if there's a whole bunch of stuff on the desk. Once I'd put everything away though, interestingly enough, the next step is to get everything out. Well, more specifically, my stationery items, because the next stage of this office reset project was to declutter my stationery. We do have a full separate video on that one, but outside of stationery, there were also a few other items I decided to get rid of. One thing in particular was my old laptop, because I just don't use it now that I have my iPad, so you can go to a new home once I factory reset you. This set of headphones that doesn't plug into anything except for maybe the laptop that I'm getting rid of, so yeah, not much point in keeping those. An old voice recorder from when we were at uni, and well, yeah, phones are good enough now that their battery doesn't go completely kaput if you record for an hour, so don't really need that. And one of my first proper lights that I got for YouTube, but I don't need it anymore because I've got these bad boys. Obviously, everything in this pile is not staying here. I would get rid of this printer because I fundamentally hate it, but it needs to stay for now because I don't have any better options. And I'm also getting rid of this chair because it is absolutely awful. You can see that the base of it is peeling up because it's a bit old and it's not very comfy. You can go. While this is the current layout of the office, so we've got the desks along that wall with this desk turned so it comes in to the middle of the floor, and then my drawers, my art card over here. What I want to do is completely rearrange this. Anytime I'm doing furniture rearranging, I like to do it in PowerPoint. So this is the current floor plan of the office. And this here is what I'm thinking. So we're flipping that L-shaped desk around so it sits in the corner, and bringing the other one down here, so along the window wall. The little drawers are gonna go over here, and then we've got 2 new additions, which are gonna be bookshelves. So then in theory, I can film towards that direction, or like towards that wall, and then have something nice behind me. Which means I need to order bookshelves, but that's a later me problem. For now though, we just need to turn off the computer, unplug all of the cables, trying not to get them completely tangled, and then we can start moving things around. As much fun as it would be to try and move all this around by myself, I did enlist the help of Vogel. Especially when it comes to the desks, there's no way in heck that I was going to be able to move those by myself. When you ask your partner to take the recycling out of your office, and he throws it down the stairs. But for this part, we're effectively trying to move everything we can out of the office, so we pretty much just have the desks and the set of drawers in here. When it came to the electronics that I have on my desk, like, you know, my monitors, lights, that kind of thing, rather than moving those out of the office and having to find somewhere to store them, we did just end up moving those between the desks as we moved them into different places. But moving the majority of the stuff out of the office was a very good excuse to give it a thorough tidy. So we're thinking kind of like a deep vacuum of the carpet, dusting down any of the baseboards, and inspecting inspecting the walls for any kind of scuffs or things like that. Once things were clean though, it was time to move some furniture. We started by moving the smaller desk so that then when we go to rotate the larger one, we actually have space to do it. And this also gave us a surface to put all of the electronics from the bigger desk onto. Despite initially trying to keep my cables not in a tangled mess, they did end up being one. It was kind of just easier to move the tangle all at once rather than individual cable by cable. But I did still try to be careful with these because you don't want to damage your cables when you're moving them around. Cable management is certainly something that my desk setup is going to need, especially because with rotating the desk so it sits in the corner, my cables are going to be a lot more visible than they were previously. With this kind of L shape sticking out into the middle of the office, you kind of had some stuff in the way of where the cables were when you look into the office, which means that you didn't really see how much of a tangled mess they were. Now though, with it going into the corner that's directly diagonally across from the door, any cable mess is going to be very visible. Ideally, what we wanted to do was remove everything from this larger desk before we tried to move it, because it's already heavy enough as it is. You don't need extra mass sitting on top of the desk. Slight snag, this light literally will not come off the desk, so he's just gonna stay there, and we'll just move the desk with him there. But thankfully, one light doesn't make too much of a difference. As said, this L-shaped desk is really hard to move because you kind of can't just grab it from the two edges and move it easily. At one point, Vogel actually got underneath the desk because then he could kind of lift it from under there. But once the desk was in the corner, it was then time to transfer the smaller one. So getting my sets of drawers out of the way and into their new home, and then moving everything from the smaller desk back onto the bigger one so we could move that smaller desk into the corner. When it comes to rearranging a space and moving around furniture, or even getting new furniture, one of the things that I really recommend is doing a kind of size up of each of the pieces and then playing around with it either on paper or digitally to make sure that everything fits before you start moving things around. That is exactly what I did for this office makeover, but I don't know what happened, but my measurements were off. This desk is wider than the other desk.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as far in, to be fair.
I hate this. So, slight issue, didn't realize that this desk here is actually wider than the other one. I don't know why I didn't know that, but here it is. I think what we're gonna try and do, we're gonna rotate this desk so it jots out, then I'll effectively have a nook to work in, and I'll still have plenty of space behind me over here that, yes, Vogel's just lying on the floor, to have the bookcases. So that's, I think, what we're gonna go with. So rotating this desk and seeing how it looks. One of the only issues is that it's different on either side, so do I have this part of the back or this part of the back? I mean, which side is the back? I think I'm gonna have this side towards me though, because I think I'd just prefer that. Yeah, no, I hate this, so we're not gonna go with that. We're just gonna put it back and we're gonna move the L-shaped one out a little. At least then it means that when the curtain comes down it won't hit the light, so I'm not happy, but I'm trying to be okay. In putting the smaller desk back where it was though, we decided to flip it around, and that's because the legs on that desk aren't actually attached at the corners. They are on one side but not on the other. For me, it's more important to have the front of the desks line up perfectly compared to having them both flush against the wall. And while it is going to take some getting used to having a gap behind the back of my desk, once I'm using it, I probably won't notice, or at least it hopefully won't bother me. One thing that I will say is a big win for having the desks arranged this way though, is I have a lot more floor space now. I was talking to Vogel and saying that I could bring in something like an exercise mat and do yoga in my office, but I don't like yoga, so that's probably not going to happen. And while at this stage I have kind of gotten used to the space a bit more and I'm feeling more positive about it, at the time, I am devastated. Grrr. I'm still trying to make my peace with the fact that the desk is now pulled out from the wall, but at least, now as it's pulled out, it's on the other side of the USB ports. Now I just need to put everything back on the desk. Well, most things. I say most things because the next step in the process was to do some upgrades on my equipment, in particular my monitors and getting some monitor arms and also my speakers. I've been finding my speakers are having a little bit of trouble playing sounds as well as they used to. They're a little bit old now, and I've been meaning to replace my monitors for ages. I want two monitors that are actually the same as each other. For now though, it was just me having a whole bunch of umming and ahhing as to where things were going to go. It's going to go through a few more iterations before I'm happy with it though. I've had some time to think about it, and we think we're going to keep the filming stuff here so that it can face towards where the shelves are going to go once they are here and we build them and whatever. But I was originally going to have my desktop stuff over here, like my computer facing towards this direction. Hopefully you can kind of understand what I mean by that. But the issue with that is that often when I'm working with my, top-down filming, I like to watch stuff, but my computers will be over there. So I was gonna get an articulating arm to bring the computer screen over here so I can kind of see it. But then I thought, why don't I just put the monitors in this corner? Like, the light can move over and the monitors will be there, and then they'll be a little bit more visible. It's an idea, it needs some thought, but we're going shopping tomorrow, so better get to thinking about it now. We're at a Black Friday sale, though a week before Black Friday, interestingly. But that does mean we are getting some good deals on all of the things. Bought my list so that I could get the right stuff. So far, so good. Vogel's helping me pick out trays for underneath my desk so we can cable manage. Should I upgrade my ugly watch? This one's smiley. Got my cute little pile of bits and pieces, and now we just need to go home and put them all together. But so far we have our cable management tube, 2 new monitors, 2 monitor mounts or monitor arms, some cable management tray things, and a bunch of lights. One of the big things we had to consider though was cabling and how many plugs needed to go in how many places, and then also making sure these fit into the cable management trays. Personally, I like to call these Steves because this one is called Steve, or at least it has a label on it that says Steve, but that meant we needed to go to the hardware store and get some new ones, despite having heaps at home. Thankfully Vogel was onto it, looking up which ones would be best. We're finally back from shopping. We have all of the stuff. My office is a mess and the sun is bright. So we're gonna actually set some stuff up because I need a functional desk for tomorrow, so. While filming the setup of the monitors and the monitor arms was not something I did manage to capture me sorting out my cables. Wow, am I super glad that I didn't get them in a tangled mess when moving things around. Okay, it actually wasn't that bad, but still. We're now onto cable management time, and this is literally the worst part. My hands hurt, my elbows hurt, my back hurts. We're gonna get it done. The cables are shorter than I think would be ideal, but we don't have any other longer ones, so we're just gonna use them because I need my computer to be functional for tomorrow. I'm getting hangry, not gonna lie, a little bit hangry. The cables are in their homes, finally.
Hey Papa, what are we doing after dinner?
More cable management.
Oh no.
Part of that involved attaching the cable management trays under the desk. Thankfully they come with this handy paper cutout that you can use to put in where you need to drill holes. I left the drilling of this one up to Vogel, but I did do the second one myself.
Done.
Yay, looks so good!
Now we can put the thing back on.
Oh yes, cable management tray.
Well, we've at least gotten it to the point where everything I need the first thing tomorrow morning is plugged in and operational. But you can see that our cable management still needs some work, and there's still some other pieces to get, but for now I am tired and going to bed. So this is a tomorrow me problem. One of the main tasks for the next day was more shopping, including my new speakers, which ended up arriving a lot faster than I was expecting. While these monitors themselves are really good, I cannot stand the speakers on them. So I'm very glad to have these here today. Such a quick turnaround. These ones are from Edifier. I assume it's a good brand. It came up on some searches. Anytime I purchase any electronic, I effectively just go to Google and go best insert thing here. And typically whatever comes up first, second, or third is the thing that I get. Of course, the problem with speakers is that there are a lot of things that go into the best, but I'm very pleased with the ones that I ended up getting. Another item that we very much needed to get was a microphone arm and also some more cable management, and that again came a lot faster than I thought it would. The microphone arm in particular was to get my microphone off my desk and make it a lot easier to move around. Previously, I had it sitting directly in front of me, in front of those little desk drawers that I would also have directly in front of me. But then because it sat in front of the little drawers, I could never get into the little drawers to get things out. I ended up going with the Elgato Wave Arm LP, like low profile. And for anything that I've purchased new that I can link you to, it is in the description box below, just in case you wanted to grab anything. While I knew I was going to like having a microphone arm, I didn't realize I was going to like it quite as much as I have been. I'm kind of miffed that I didn't upgrade to it sooner, but it is a really good purchase and I'm really pleased with it. The next fun project though was figuring out where to place everything on the desk so that it's as user-friendly as possible. While this is okay, it is not ideal yet. We also have our cable management bits here now, so once I've sorted out where I actually want things to go on the desktop, then we can get them in the right places, cable manage the heck out of everything, and it should be all good to go. Apart from the fact that my computer's on the fritz, so I don't actually know if I will get around to the proper cable management until maybe after Christmas. We'll see. Although I do like having all of these here, I don't like that they kind of look, I'm gonna say non-aesthetic, it's not quite what I mean, I just want them to look a little nicer. Let's just ignore the fact that all of this is on the desk, because that all needs to be put away, obviously. But the real problem is how I organize all of the stuff over this side, because as of current, my microphone arm is sitting in front of the speaker. That's not ideal. I obviously need to cable manage my lights. And I want the majority of this kind of area to be left clear so that I can just use it for doing my journaling setups and all that kind of stuff, because you can see the camera is here pointing down, ready to film. I do think it's just going to take some playing around, but I need to put things away so I can get a better appreciation of the space I actually have available. I do very much feel like that my office is pretty much constantly in a state of needing to be tidied, and I'm hoping that once this project is done, because everything should have its own space, meaning that I know where it needs to go back to once I'm done using it, in theory, I won't have to tidy it up as often. While I was doing this tidy though, I was still very much ruminating on where I actually wanted things to go on the desktop itself. For instance, whether my monitors needed to be moved, whether my lights needed moving, just so that I can fit everything in and it doesn't get obstructed by other items. After much deliberation with myself, I decided to move the stand that I had here, and that means that these two cheeky boys are up here now. We've got the tiny sweeping car and Timmy the tiny turtle. Another key element of the desktop setup was making sure that my drawers are in a way that I like to look at. I know they aren't necessarily going to stay perfect, but I wanted them to look a little bit nicer. This is where we've gotten to at the moment, and I like the little rainbow. I think that looks cute. You can see we now have more stuff on the desk because I've decided that this set of drawers here, I don't think it works. It's not stackable with the other ones, and I don't know. You served your purpose, but I think you need to find a new home. Putting in some final touches on the desk space, and then I went back to the little drawers and decided to reorder all of the multicolored bins. I don't expect them to stay in rainbow order, but they at least look nice at the moment. How you doing? So this is where we have it at this point, but I'm gonna need to do something about a display. So we're gonna be getting some shelves to go along here. These are the ones that I've decided to go with. Now we just need to order them and wait for them to arrive. But of course, I ordered that a couple of weeks ago, so they are here now, and they're heavy, and I just have to get them upstairs. Hey Vogel, can you help me out with something? Thankfully, Vogel was more than happy to oblige, because he didn't want me leaving them right in front of the stairwell, which was kind of blocking access to the upstairs.
One down.
And I just very much appreciated not having to try and get these up the stairs myself. I did try and offer help, he said it was easier without me. It'll be good getting to display the journal rainbow again, because they used to be on a desk over there, but now it is not there. Right now they're just chilling in the cupboard feeling sorry for themselves. The actual assembly of the shelves really wasn't that hard, which was kind of nice. I always get a little bit apprehensive about having to build furniture myself, and it was almost the kind of thing where you realistically didn't even need two people to do it. Given that there was a lot of periods where either Vogel or myself was kind of just standing around waiting for the other one to finish what they were doing, but I still appreciated having the help. The assembly of the first shelf obviously took a little longer than the second, because you're kind of getting used to what you're supposed to do and in what order, and then when it comes to the second shelf you kind of already know what you're supposed to be doing. Really the only things to watch out for during the assembly process was making sure that the holes on the shelves lined up properly with the holes on the rungs. There were only a couple that we had to redo as we went through, but getting the first one assembled, I am super chuffed with how it looks. One down, one to go. Initially, when I was thinking about embarking on this office makeover project, I was kind of thinking about painting the wall that these bookshelves are going on, but then when I saw some of the reference pictures from the website, they had them against a cream kind of white colored wall, similar to what I've got, and I really loved the contrast of the dark wood with the light colored wall, because honestly, if I was going to paint the wall, I'd probably end up painting it like a dark blue or something like that. I am kind of glad that I didn't go with painting the walls, mainly because I couldn't be bothered. It would have certainly increased the amount of time taken for the office reset project, because if it wasn't obvious, this didn't all happen in a day. This took kind of a couple of weeks of on again, off again work. You know, ordering a piece, waiting for it to arrive, assembling it, and then doing that on repeat for anything that I had to order. The shelves in particular were the kind that you had to order in advance, and then it would tell you that like a month later they would actually get shipped. So I ended up ordering these at the start of October, and they didn't arrive until like the first, maybe second week of November. Despite that, even though there was the wait time, I'm really glad I ordered these ones because I really like the way they look. Vogel has struck again with his interesting style of tidying up. Now, as those shelves are in though, it's time to add in some lighting. I hope that it'll be, I don't know, long enough. Okay, so I've got the light strip on and I've turned it to purple, of course, and it's behind the shelf, currently sitting on the floor with one end stuck, but I can't get the rest of the double-sided tape off, and I'm really worried it's just gonna pull off where it is, but it's looking very cute. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I feel like it's really bright on camera. It's kind of a little bit more subtle in person, but it looks so cute. Progress shot, got the second one up now. Boom, third one up. Now we just need to deal with all of the cables. But it's looking pretty cute. Okay, in the end we decided to move them over because having them where they were wasn't quite right. And now I've been able to mostly cable manage them down the kind of back of this, I don't know, what is it called? In my mind I want to call it a pylon. It is not a pylon. But you can see that my cable management is not finished and also not perfect, but it's still pretty good. I'm liking it. And of course we have baby Chino on the shelf already, looking so cute, as per usual. With the shelves in their forever home though, we can then bring back the journal rainbow. Although I'm putting it here on this second to top shelf, I'm not actually sold on it staying there. I'm thinking I might end up breaking up the colors and kind of dispersing them over the shelves. And I've also got some of my soft toys which I kind of want to put on there too. But again, I'm not necessarily sure where in particular they'll end up going. Shelf design is certainly not a strength of mine, so it needs some work. We also have plenty of empty space still at the bottom. But then also a lot of stuff left in the cupboard, so I'm kind of having a bit of trouble deciding what stays in here versus what goes on the other shelves. I did decide to move the Cricut though because I thought it would be better beside the printer rather than on the drawers. And on the drawers I currently have my old desk risers, but they might get moved as well. Because I was kind of thinking of putting the journal rainbow down there, but it really depends on how I end up organizing the shelves, so that'll be a future me problem. We ended up getting one of these light strips for Vogel as well, but it seems like it's probably not going to work for what he wanted it for, so I'm thinking we might put that on the top shelf. In terms of getting the office completely in order though, really all I need to do is put stuff away. This means moving things out of the office if they don't belong here, putting things into the drawers that I've designated for different things. I will still probably have to go in and do a little bit more organization in the drawers in particular, but the main thing in this project that I was really focusing on was getting the office layout the way that I wanted it. So having the desks in their new spaces, putting each of the different pieces of equipment in the general place that they'll be going. I am still going to have to do some cable management in here, but I'm not going to do that until I get my computer fixed, which is very much an after Vlogmas problem. One of the things that I'm probably the most pleased about is now that I've done my declutter and got my shelves, my office has so much storage. Storage is always something that I like to have more of than I actually need, so that as I get new items, I actually have somewhere for them to go. It's nice that at this point my cupboard shelves don't need to be double stocked because I just don't have enough space. And as said, I do need to play around with what I choose to store in there versus what I choose to store on the shelves. Having a look at a before and after of the office though, previously we had that T-shape for the desk setup, and now the desks are along the wall, which really just opens up the space a lot more. Prior to decluttering, I just had way too much stuff on the desks or on other surfaces because there was nowhere for it to go, but now all of the things remaining have their set homes, meaning the desk space is a lot clearer. While previously that back wall was looking a little bit bare and nothing special, with the addition of the shelves with the contrast with the wall, it's looking a lot nicer. In the previous setup, my Cricut could not be used and my printer's home was on the floor, but now both of them are together on the desks, making them much nicer to access and more usable. While my cable management was and still is a bit of an issue, I'm really pleased with the cable trays, and we do have those other cable management options that I'm going to be using once my computer is fixed. While previously face-forward filming was a little bit difficult because either the sun was in my face or the background was a bit uninspiring, my new shelves with their lights offer a much better background. Although I do still have to make sure I'm keeping my desk tidy because that's still visible in the shot. While my desk drawers from before were handy in terms of location, I couldn't actually use them because of my microphone. With the new setup though, those drawers are much more accessible and a lot more ordered, plus I could bring the ones that were in the cupboard out and onto the desk, and the microphone is much more user-friendly being on a microphone arm. Most importantly though, the journal rainbow is still on display, and I have a couple of other fun little pieces on display in my office too. It probably goes without saying that I am super excited about my new office. It's just a lot more peace-inducing, and because I have less stuff, it is more likely that clutter will not accumulate on every single surface. though I do now have more surfaces for it to accumulate on, so fingers crossed. If you enjoy this kind of decluttering, resetting type content, then this playlist is the next one to check out. In that one we have all of our previous decluttering videos, which I think are a lot of fun. So click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there. Yeah, Bubba. Show us how it's done. What?
This smells bad. I need to wash.